So in this example of effective practice from Parkwood Academy School in Sheffield, which is a secondary school based in a deprived area of Sheffield, they've been one of our Wellbeing Club members for over a year. And Hollie Hobson is the Wellbeing Lead and Senior Mental Health Lead. And she talks about how through the Wellbeing Hub that she leads, which is a central component to the school's mental health strategy in supporting pupil mental health and wellbeing, that positive relationships and the facilitation of the positive relationships in and embedding them in the school culture have been essential for the development of a proactive approach to early prevention of mental health problems in young people. And in their school, they have 845 children. 300 of those are accessing interventions for wellbeing, all run out of the Wellbeing Hub. The work is pioneering, it is amazing. And she's really taken a coaching ethos and a coaching underpinning methodology of developing positive relationships to really create a whole school culture that really is child-centered and promotes positive well-being through relationships and interactions, something I talk about all the time. I hope you find her example inspiring. She joined Wellbeing Club over a year ago and really engaged in all the online content and resources and my support to help her lead and pioneer this work. So I hope you enjoy her example
In
as much as
Sheffield,
I
it's a
do.
secondary school with around about 845 students. The part of Sheffield that we're from is known as a deprived area. However, that's not something that the kids let them stop achieving. We currently have a wellbeing hub within our school that I am part of. So I'm the wellbeing officer and the senior mental health lead. And we also have a school counsellor that supports the wellbeing of our school. So over the last 3.5 years, we've grown to 2 members of staff where we've got a school counsellor, as I've mentioned, and then obviously me as the wellbeing officer. And our hub is now an opportunity for students to access drop-in sessions, to complete interventions. We have over 7 different external projects running, charity-based ones and ones that we fund. And it's an opportunity for students to have a safe space. It's a place for them to regulate, and it's also a space for staff to access. So over the last 3 years, we've grown it from just interventions to it creating this whole school approach of providing safety, providing an opportunity for supportive conversations and meetings, a place where we can do mediations, an opportunity for do one-to-ones and group interventions. So it crosses over all that line. And then the plan moving forward is to continue the development and building of the Wellbeing Hub. Now do interventions, and I know a lot of interventions used to be about naughty kids. I don't like to refer to them as that because I don't think it is. It's kids struggling,
Yeah.
potentially with behaviour stuff or potentially with stuff going off at home or whatever. But interventions used to be based around them. And now we're looking at students, and we've changed our whole theory on it of students that might be low self-esteem, clearly have strength somewhere, but are struggling in another area, but they might be quietly struggling. And we're trying to build up them or positive role models in the year group, people that are influential, putting them into leadership programs and creating that ripple of, if you've got that kindness, if you've got that leadership, if you can notice right from wrong, if you in yourself have good self-esteem, when people question you, you'll believe in yourself. So then that kid will create them positive ripples.
It's like relationships facilitate well-being, and that those positive connections and interactions are the container for all everything else. It sounds like you've definitely taken that and run with that. How have you noticed relationships that are improving in the school, either student with student or staff with students or staff with staff? What's changing?
I think obviously I've always had a unique opportunity to have relationships with students, and it's beyond, and it's simple things like, I think on one of your trainings you said don't ask them how the weekend was because it's such a weighted question. It's like ask them how they are or what they're doing and things like that. So it's little adaptations to, again, language, and you change it and you think, because they might not have done anything at the weekend, and every time being asked that is like a reiteration that they've got nothing to do in things. And whereas asking how they are or could you tell me something interesting completely changes that power sort of dynamic in that situation. For staff, I think it's more like empathy. it helps with communication, which I think right now, like I say, back to the amount of stress and workload and difficulty Ofsted, things like that, it can feel a lot like you're on your own. So by utilising the training or talking about relationships and understanding that positive relationships can make a change and make your life slightly easier as well, because it takes away that conflict. I think the problem at the moment, there's so much conflict in the world that you constantly feel like sometimes you feel these kids are in fight or flight all the time, and they're just ready for that. And having that positive relationship and listening to what the student's going through, it really helps. But then also that knock-on effect onto the kids, like talking about relationships and staff relationships and then physically seeing it and role modeling, they then see it for themselves and challenging it. You know, we've got students now. The other day I had a student that saw another student sort of just being unkind to a student, and he actually challenged him and said, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And this is a kid that, you know, has his own things that maybe he struggles with, but noticing that unkindness and this all comes from these relationships that we're showing and role modeling. And sometimes we're the relationships to our kids that, you know, with stuff going on at home, parents working long hours because the living crisis they're in at the moment, they don't always get that contact. So we're trying to do, before school, I do a brain gym where it's a really positive environment for me and another member of staff that maybe doesn't get to see the students in that way, do an active intervention, and the kids love it. Like, there's 40 kids that come and they're like, I love brain gym on a Tuesday and Thursday, and they'll come every single week. And we've got breakfast club where students get to do that. We've got after school club staff running things, and that's all under that idea of these relationships, because a poor relationship is the first thing to break down, is the sticking point of any, you know. A lot of kids come into my sessions to say, oh, this teacher's picking on me. And I'm like, when we break it down, it's their interpretation of that situation, like when they're being challenged. So it's a relationship challenge as well. I think, and it's good to have these, you know, our staff are really good at saying, I'll come and talk to that child. I will do them restorative chats, because it's really important to build that back up and realise that being firm or having consequences isn't a personal attack. It's part of life, and that uncomfortable feeling you might experience is not then to be put onto somebody. And I think that's what we're currently struggling with